They hid the truth in shadows, but every heart can find its light. We heard the silence and the quiet, feelings lost behind a veil of doubt. Step by step, our voices growing, breaking chains they tried to keep us bound. Every whispered lie can't hide the hope we hold. Every gentle truth will guide us through the cold. Like dawn across the darkest night, we lift our dreams into the sky. One heart, one voice will shine the light. Together rising, we will find the why. Steps of courage move the mountains. Softest words can break the mold. In each seed of truth we're planting, see the world transform before it's cold. Gather all our hopes and dreams, reach out in love and let it be. One taught across the darkest night, we lift our dreams into the sky. One heart, one voice will shine the light. Together rising, we will find our own. Hand in hand, standing through the sky. Together rising, we will find the why.
Brian is innocent. Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.
Wow. That statement always shocks me, that the state wants to hide. Yeah, it should all be out in the open, guys. They don't have to hide anymore. And if you have never been to my stream, welcome aboard. I am thrilled you are here. My channel is Phoenix Talks, and Phoenix is going to be talking today. So I just want to welcome every single one of you in. Grammy T, welcome in. Yes, bring in all the facts. Amanda, hey, yes, housekeeping, justiceforall.com for all the documents. I've got a special announcement coming. Remind me, Amanda. Welcome each other in. Hey, Carol, Lulu Bell, I am fantastic. Hope you are doing well. Hope everyone in the nest is doing well. Rebecca, OG in the house. Annie, Donna Rosa, Polka Dots, welcome in. Is that Emma? I hope that's right. Welcome in. Mary, good to see ya. Yes, let's get the ball rolling here. How about we do that? So, do I have any announcements to make? Yes, I've got a few special announcements. You are going to see uploaded in the next 24 hours special videos only for members that are here. If you have a subscription with me for my live streams, you are going to be getting some amazing video footage. You are going to love what you are going to see because it'll be easy for you to locate things that you are looking for quickly. So I decided to go ahead, roll this out and do it. It is a demanding, tough project, but it'll be so worth it because you will have all the information right at your fingers. So let me ask every single one of you that come to the stream. I can see the stats. I kind of get an idea of how old you are, kind of where you're at in the country or in the country, outside the country. It doesn't tell me exactly all the details. It just gives me a high level overview telling me who my normal streamers are. So with that being said, I love to bake. I don't know about you. I've always been a baker. I love baking sourdough. I love cooking dinners. That obviously Kara, last spoke with Xana about a month prior to the homicide, when she attempted to coordinate having lunch with Xana. Blank said Xana ended up being too busy with class and was not able to meet. Now, I can only imagine the hurt and the heartbreak that Kara had as a mother, knowing that her daughter was probably too busy with classes, but then reading all these reports about how much they partied, but didn't have time to sit down with their mom and have lunch. And they couldn't meet. Then she said she was unaware of anyone who'd want to hurt her daughter, and questioned her, inquiring if she had any blank and if Xana could have been killed as blank redacted. And one of the things that struck to me, that just stuck out, was Xana's mom, Kara, says, y'all, there's somebody you need to take a look at. You need to take a look at this person, because so-and-so said blank hated Carnoodle. Hate is a very strong word. As a mother, to say that, they had to have been given some information from someone. And I hope that the investigators went up and followed in regards to this, in my humble opinion. Now, I'm going to ask you, chat, do you know of anyone that hates you so bad that would be in a position to go harm you? I would hope not. I would hope not. Because to this day, we've never, if you were on my live this morning, we've never been given an answer by the prosecution why this case happened. And yes, Caleb, from day one, do you believe they don't know what happened? Do you believe they're still in the dark? I don't think so. I just think there's a lot of people being protected in this case. And obviously one of them, or two, or three, or four, were not those living at 1122 King Road. Because we know by other statements, they were only living in the house because of their situation. Well, I don't know what that situation was, but I believe they all wanted out of the Greek life. They all left the Greek life. They were still partying with their friends. Mind you, they lived off campus. It didn't mean they couldn't, visit their friends just because they left the sorority, or they were put on an administrative whatever because you don't have the GPA that they want you to have. But there was a statement in another document in 0031. And in this document, there was a slew of witnesses, and this was in regards to Xana. Right after Thanksgiving, approximately November 28th, 2022. And this is what we're looking at from a fresh perspective here, not only from a Kara point of view, but from Xana's friends, because everybody knew she was well loved. And this never made sense to me. Why Xana? Why Xana? Why do you think Xana was taken out? I'll ask you, chat. Everybody loves Xana. Everybody. Her friends, family, guys. She was liked. Everybody wanted to date her. She was a free spirit. And free spirits, right, polka dots, free spirits attract charismatic people. Charismatic people attract more people. She lived on the edge. She was vivacious, smart. She was cool. Absolutely. So what motive was it to harm Xana? Was she just in the wrong place at the wrong time? Who was I've heard of this, Anne, for so long. This fighting, this fight club, this animosity between Ethan and this other individual. We've heard about it for years, but is any of that legitimately true? We get rumors exist. We get that. Stories go around town. I get that. I've seen the real videos. Absolutely. That is logic right there. We've seen the videos of Fight Club. We've seen familiar faces in the Fight Club. And obviously, we know the rule of Fight Club. First rule is don't talk about it. Second rule is don't talk about it. Kind of like what happens in fraternities. First rule is don't talk about it. Second rule is don't talk about it. And we know that the university got a protection order and couldn't expose what she learned. Absolutely. We know that the college was protected. There was a protection order put in place. I've already shared that. But keep in mind, there is so much more to Xana than you would have thought. And by her friends being interviewed. So this person went out, was contacted by the ISP via telephone. And it was a previous blank of mine from Meridian, Idaho. That's what it says. I asked if I was a part of the homicide in the investigation from Idaho, Moscow. He asked because he received a phone call, and this guy was born in 1976. This is an older gentleman. Because a person who claimed to be with the FBI was somewhat skeptical because the number returned from a Detroit, Michigan number. He contacted me because his blank attended the University of Idaho and may have information about persons who were associated with the homicide victims. And all this content is going to be great for you guys to go and review what I have in store. I'm going to upload that. Blank asked if I could reach out to his blank blank. I'm sure that was his daughter attending, and talk to her because her birth date is 2022, which makes her perfect college age, and talk to her about what information she may have. So they say, okay, on December 2nd, 2022, at approximately 11:05, the detective and I contacted and recorded the telephone interview with said daughter. Blank was attending the University of Idaho and was living in Moscow, Idaho. She was the blank blank of her sorority. Blank's classmate was with Xana. She wasn't close to Xana, but she knew her primarily through her ex-boyfriend. And they gave the date of birth and the name, which is redacted. Later, last year, while I was dating blank, she would visit Kernoodle's old apartment. Remember, this was the year prior, and Kernoodle lived in an apartment that seemed to be a little toxic, a little chaotic, and a lot of partying. So she moved in the 1122 King Road with all the other girls. And she's saying that she would visit Kernoodle's old apartment on a weekly basis. She still saw Xana around campus and town, but she didn't hang out with her like she previously did. So perhaps less partying, more focus on work, more focus on school, whatever was in her circle. And she said she didn't go to the current apartment on King Street because blank was there on a regular basis. So who was this ex-boyfriend of hers that would be hanging around 1122 all the time on a regular basis? She added blank was a member of the blank fraternity. Well, if they were hanging out at the King Road house, We know what fraternity that could possibly be, right? We've seen plenty of people there from Sigma Chi in videos, a lot of videos. So then she goes on to say that blank describes seeing Ethan at the old apartment when she was there with blank last year. She did not believe Xana and Chapin were officially dating at the time. Maybe they were just all hanging around their friends. And I've shown you that TikTok video so many times now that should be ingrained in your head. All those people were at her old apartment. Okay? And she didn't know any person Kernoodle was dating last year. So apparently, Ethan and her had only been dating maybe 6-7 months, allegedly. She did know one of blank friends and fraternity brothers had a crush on Kernoodle. The individual's name was blank, and obviously this date of birth is wrong. This date of birth says 2021. That's got to be an error because that individual would not be in a frat, would not be hanging around any of the frat brothers. That's got to be a typo. And there are some typos in here. She was not aware of anyone stalking or having issues with Xana. She was not close to Ethan Chapin. She knew of him from last year when she would visit hangout party at the old place. She primarily saw Ethan at blank blank parties. At blank blank parties. I don't know if that's Sigma Chi frat parties, possibly. She didn't know Madison Mogan or Kaylee very well. She described going to Mogan's house one time last year because remember, Maddie still lived in the same address. Maddie still lived at the same address. She had lived there the year prior. And you can see she lived there by going to her old videos on TikTok and her old pictures on Instagram. She did live there the year prior. And those are logical signs that this is true. So she said she knew blank through her roommate who played blank with blank. She saw her at parties but didn't have a relationship with her. She described blank, 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 blank last year and expressed concern which she had seen blank, blank, blank at parties. Well, I don't know who that roommate would be. But she goes on to say she did not know blank personally. She did know her sorority sister blank blank. She described as them being close friends. So you could look at this document and say, okay, you kind of piece it together with social media, with who's commented, date of birth. I mean, you can narrow it down to maybe one or two people, right? So this person did not go after Xana moved because she didn't like someone there. And she said specifically her ex-boyfriend would be hanging out here all the time, partying. It does sound like, yeah, it does sound, it does. And I know you're up on it, Gypsy. I know you, yeah, I know you're like 100% legit. So then she goes on to say she knew blank date of birth 2022 from hanging out last year at the old apartment, but didn't know much about her. Now we know the youngest individual in this whole scenario is perhaps somebody that was born in 2002 at the time. So my only thought would be allegedly that this is Dylan. So according to her, she didn't like going over there because there was an ex of hers, and then this new girl shows up on the scene, and she didn't want to go over there because she didn't feel comfortable, perhaps. So she recalled visiting Xana's old apartment last year because she had a friend that was close with Blank and lived next door. She described Blank and Kernoodle having a close friendship. She stated Blank was no longer at the university because she graduated last year. And I was thinking maybe her ex was hooking up with the roommate. Absolutely, Shield Maiden. Yes. And that was something that had me thinking about a video that Kaylee made I don't know if you've seen the video out there. Let me grab it for you. I'm trying to put the pieces together. And when you start looking at, hold on, let me pull it up. I'm going to have to mute the music. I'm going to have to mute the music or else I'm going to get a ding. So this is the video that came to mind when I read this. And I thought, why would somebody mention this? And then I thought of this video. Have you guys seen this video? It says Mean Girl Outfits Rocky, Mean Girls tag, Halloween look, Halloween 2021, Halloween costume sorority. Now, I don't know if this had been going on that time, but it reminded me of the Mean Girl scenario, the Mean Girl vibes. And I hate to play it without the music because the music, you know what? Let me play it with the music so you guys can get the whole vibe. Hold on.
Rock this bitch.
It's not my fault you're like in love with me.
Okay, let's rock this bitch.
Okay, so now you got the idea of what was going on in this document. This person was very aware of what was happening. So then they go on to say that, so she recalled Kernoodle's old apartment last year because a friend was close with lived next door. She described him as having a close friendship. She stated blank was no longer at the university because she did graduate. However, blank could have been sent a text about the night of the homicide. The text was a screenshot describing two of the other roommates locking their doors because they heard someone rummaging around. Now, I don't know about you, but if somebody is rummaging around, I don't know if I would necessarily lock my door if I was inside the room that was rummaged. Now, does that bring a little bit more light to what possibly could have been going on in there? The mean girls in Cabo are like, yep, nothing to envy. I agree, Anne. I agree. And that's what hit the nail on the head. But listen to what she said again. The text she got was a screenshot describing two of the other roommates locking their doors because they heard someone rummaging around. Was this when they were all upstairs, perhaps in Kaylee's bedroom, and somebody broke in and somebody was in the house? Could the timeline be more like 2 a.m. versus 4 a.m.? Did something take place while they were upstairs, something going on downstairs? And maybe, if you think about it, and I like to think of the unthinkable, if somebody actually popped into their house while they were upstairs on the third floor, would they be able to hear someone rummaging around downstairs in Bethany's room? Is that even a possibility? Because this individual says, I got a text, and it describes the other two roommates locking their doors because they heard someone rummaging around. So if those two roommates locked their door, where were they at? Were they in Dylan's room? Was Bethany in Dylan's room? Because that'll change the whole scenario, and that'll push the time frame up until 2 to 3. If somebody was in fact in the house. And that is why Kaylee ran upstairs and said, "Oh my God, someone's in the house." She didn't run down the stairs, maybe. Maybe she ran up the stairs, like Dylan said, but it's because somebody was in the downstairs. Think about this statement. So then she says the detail the next day, November 12, 22, the University of Idaho football team was having senior night. This was a big game and many people attended. There were many students pre-gaming before the game, and she was not certain, but she assumed all the victims attended the game. She's just giving her account to the investigators. And then at 10:45, she went to the Chi fraternity party. I think that's supposed to be Sigma Chi, CHI, but the investigator probably, who knows, maybe they don't know what that is. So approximately 10 to 10:30, 11 to 11:30, she saw Xana and Ethan for about 10 to 15 minutes at the party at 11:30 was the last time, okay? So she observed them on the upper floor of the lodge. Okay, I found out since then this place, the lodge, they call the lodge is on Taylor Avenue. And it's not the lodge that I was thinking. So she described them on the upper floor looking down, observing the party. She recalled hearing a couple songs play when she lost track of Kernoodle and Chapin. Now, if I go to Google Maps and I look at the house that they call the lodge, I don't know if has anybody done this already? How close on Taylor is the 1120 and the 1130 Linda Lane footage? Because when I saw that this lodge is on, I think it's 730 something Taylor Avenue. It's a house on Taylor Avenue in Moscow. When you look at that address, oh shoot, I can't believe they've done this. They've blurred it out. They blurred the house out now. I can't believe this crap. Okay, well, anyways, you go to Taylor Avenue, and I'll try to zoom in. They blurred it out, guys. Jeez. You go to Taylor Avenue, wherever this house is over here, and you think about, I think it's right in here. This is the lodge, right? So you go and you look about how far away was it from 1122, and could that sound from this distance right here in this little area, could that sound travel from the lodge? Probably. It could probably travel. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if that sound could travel right to the 1122, we're not listening to what happened in 1122. We may be listening what happened to 1102. That sound could carry forward instead of backwards. I mean, if what this girl is saying true, then if they were at the lodge, as she described it, they were having a party at the lodge. The party ended at 1 a.m. After the party there, they went to a party and they were there till about 4 a.m. She described as being on the same road, which is right next to it. So they just moved the party from one place to the next place. When she left the apartment, and I'll go back to this map, this handy dandy map, okay? Because if the party was here and they moved the party right here to the Whites, I'm just saying, to the Whites, and let's say the party was on this side, on the right side where they found the blood trail, okay? If it was in this area, would this sound then be still heard from over here, just a different area? Possible. And yes, the whole area was like a fishbowl in here. This fishbowl will be like acoustical sounds. You could hear it from a lot of different places. So when you start putting that into perspective, just by one witness statement, the whole landscape of this case changes because you don't know who's the individual that's telling the truth or who's the individual that's selling the story they were told to sell. Because remember, any party that these people had were controlled parties. If you weren't part of the frat, you weren't getting in. Okay? If you were part of an organization and you had a +1, you're not bringing +2 or 3. So then she says the party went on to 4 a.m. She described the blank as being on the same road as Kernodle's apartment. Okay, so the apartment is the house, 1122 King Road. So if it's on the same road, it's in that same vicinity that we may be able to hear on this camera that is right here, because this area and this area may be where the noise is coming from, and it's not behind this house. It could have been from either of these addresses, either right in front, right over here on the right side, or right here. Could have been. So then she goes on to say that her interaction, basically she left the apartment when she was walking at 4 a.m. She admits she was walking at 4 a.m. She ran into one of her good friends, blank, blank, blank. She believed blank had been with Xana apartment earlier that evening. Well, how much earlier if you're leaving at 4 a.m.? How much earlier? Her interaction did occur, and she ran into blank blank when she was walking down from the apartments. Blank was talking to a group of people. Well, wait a minute. If, in my humble opinion, if allegedly this is Dylan is outside at 4 a.m. now when she was actually doing something else. Remember, she adds a contact at 3 something in her phone. What was it? 3:51 a.m. She adds a new contact. Now, I don't know if this girl's story lines up because obviously she doesn't admit she was drinking, but she says that the party lasted until 4 a.m. and she leaves and she's walking and she runs into, and this could actually be the truth right here. If she leaves approximately 4 a.m., it could have been that she left at 3:50 and saw Dylan walking with some other people, added a phone contact in her phone outside because so-and-so was walking with a large group of people. She believed blank stayed at the blank when she left. She said she had seen and described Snapchat videos taken at Xana's earlier in the evening. She provided a phone number and was able to provide a ride back to Boise when she went home. Did this girl take Dylan at any time allegedly back to Boise? Because this girl, obviously at the beginning of this interview, was from Boise. Interesting. So then she adds on that Xana was very close to blank. She believed we should talk to her ex-boyfriend, who was always frequently at Xana's apartment regularly. Well, who is this mysterious ex-boyfriend? She didn't know if he was at the apartment the night of the homicide. She provided his phone number, highly redacted. Highly redacted. She was not aware of any strange people that may be around campus. Most of the parties are policed by the sober bros for the fraternity, for those who remain sober. And then goes on to say she described a social media app called Yik Yak, which is a way they use to post a variety of information. These posts are anonymous, and they can be seen by everyone in the app within a 5-mile radius. Parties are posted sometimes, but she did know if anything was posted about 1122. I don't understand this. I think it's supposed to say she did not know It just says, but she did know if anything was posted about 1122 the night of the homicides. This is kind of anonymous. She stated many students use the Snapchat and they have active Snap maps. However, she did not see Xana or Ethan on Snap maps from that night. She described the apartments blank in Moscow, Idaho. The apartment was nicknamed blank. She believed, I think it's the Whites. She believed many people who lived at the apartment were close to Xana at 1122 King Road. She believed the FBI had contacted individuals at the apartment already. Well, we know that from previous reports that the FBI narrowed it down to 6 different vehicles, 3 different suspects, 1 person of interest, and a name that came out of the hat, which was Koberger, which no affiliation, no nothing. Then they say the interview ended, but something was of importance because they go back and they contacted so-and-so, and he said he was not at the apartments that night of the homicide. And then he says, I have to clarify this because she said he may have been there. The guy saying he wasn't there. And now she is being contacted back by the investigators and said she didn't know for certain. She had to clarify. She didn't know for certain if he was there the day of the homicide. Why would that be so important, folks? Drop in the chat why it would be so important. Are they trying to flush out who actually was in this house when this happened? Because we know it couldn't have been Koberger. ISP, MPD, no connection, wasn't there. So think about it. Who could have been the ex-boyfriend of this girl that lives in Boise, that graduated and was no longer at the university and part of the sorority? Who was the ex-boyfriend? And that is what I thought, Michelle. That is exactly what I thought. So if allegedly that if he was actually at the crime scene earlier, this would be why we see what we see on the body cam. This behavior would be so important. Now, I'm going to show you something that may shock you. It may not, but I'm going to show you anyways. So fucked up.
You could have told us what happened before they sent a text.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
They sent a text to the entire university before even telling us what happened. Like, obviously we know, but it'd be nice to have a confirmation.
I'm sorry, guys.
We see the behaviors. I don't know why they put this at the beginning of this video. I did have another video in mind, so give me 1 second. I don't remember seeing anyone. I don't know if they put this as AI, but it looks like somebody's in cuffs. You see that right there? It looks like someone's in handcuffs. It looks like AI to me. But the behavior that I'm specifically talking about is this.
Kaylee went upstairs and she screamed because someone's in the room. She ran downstairs. And
How could he have not seen all that blood?
Okay, stay back there, please.
Where did the knife come from? Because Hunter's the only one standing there and the knife appears on the table. You do have a point, Michelle. That is very possible that he was always there. And where have we seen this before? Someone standing in that position.
Okay, stay back there, please.
Yeah, he said for protection, but he had already been in the house. He knows the house is empty. He knows. He's already been. Yes. Yes, we have seen this before in the Chris Wass case, where he's standing there trying to convince that, the investigators are investigating him. He's standing there with his hands on his head. Absolutely.
I'm 13.
Did you all know that Hunter Johnson's dad is ex-military?
Okay.
Why is he not in any trauma or shock seeing them again?
Okay, stay back there, please.
Did you hear the drop on the table? Listen, I'll play it again.
Okay, stay back there, please.
Did you hear it? His hand goes up in the background. You can barely see it. I'll slow it down just a little bit just for this purpose so you can see it. You can only see a little bit.
Okay, stay back there, please.
Interesting. It's all hidden right in front of our eyes. Every single thing. So who was the mysterious person that they were talking about in this document? The only person I could think of was Hunter J. Somebody else said it too, allegedly. And this is my point. Why would Emily need to comment on a video of mine about underwear being in the street? Why did she get so upset? And I would have never looked into this if she never would have commented on one of my videos. Ever. I wouldn't have said, something's not right. I need to go dig a little bit. Who is this person this individual was talking about being always over at Xana's house? Who was that? And who is Hunter J's bestie? And that, again, solidifies there were rumors. There were rumors. Was Emily jealous of Xana? When did Emily come into the picture, folks? Jack D didn't even know about the inside of the house. I don't think he did. I think when he drew that for investigators, the little layout, he wasn't too sure. Other than what they were sharing on social media. He can kind of pinpoint whose room was where. But she goes and she describes, well, she's not sure if he was there that night. But remember, this girl had Snapchats of who was at the house. Now they come back to her and say, for clarification, Mr. Investigator, I'm not sure for certain that he was there the day of the homicide. She told me she was mistaken. Did someone contact her and say, hey, you've got people coming to my house? Now I'm in big trouble? Yes. No talkie before coffee. They always give it away. Miss Chapin did say it wasn't a love triangle. And remember, the mayor said this was a crime of passion. They always tell us what we don't want to see. They always tell us. Now, after they said, okay, are you sure he wasn't there? No, I've been mistaken. Blake had been at an apartment which is in the same area. Well, if you look at the Google Maps one more time, they could have been in any of these areas. They didn't have to necessarily be at the 1122 King Road. They didn't have to be here. They could have been at any one of these residents right here that camera would have picked up all that noise. All that noise. Yeah, I agree. I couldn't remember, but I thought that was weird for a girl to go to bed without her phone. Possibly weird, or just that night everybody's leaving panties out in the middle of the road, underwear out in the middle of the road, and that college area is so infested with underwear everywhere, and they go to sleep with no phones. It could just be one of those things for that night only. Just one of those things. It's totally normal, folks. Nothing to see here. Move on, lady. Right? I would have never looked into this had Emily not said that on my post. At all. So did I think it was a little sus? Absolutely. To have a special live about Xana and her mother, because I'm sure that Kara misses her daughter greatly. And I'm sure she feels remorse and she's sorry for what happened to her daughter. But I do have to say this. I saw a video that broke my heart about Xana's mom. I don't know if you saw this video, but I believe when Kara says this, I believe she means this. And if you've seen this video, you don't have to stick around, but I just want to say, I believe in my humble heart, Kara is a good mom.
That wasn't possible. I would hear stories of people having radical changes in their life. And I used to think that's just never going to happen to me. I just thought it was like a fairy tale. But when it did, in the darkest time in my life, after my daughter had been murdered, and then I'm sitting in a jail, and I mean, life just couldn't get any worse at that point for me. I was so broken, and how the Lord can take you when you're so broken and make you whole again. So that's just what I want to share. I just want to share that with the world.
And indeed, I believe she was broken. I really do believe that. There is another document, but let's do this. She said very clearly, she made the statement that this death better not be due to blank blank. Now, all you moms out there, like I started the stream, if you have not been told you are a good mom, you are a good mom. Keep your thoughts and your prayers with Kara. Because honestly, I think Kara is the only strongest mother of all these mothers that will stand up to this bullshit and demand truthful answers. And I pray that the Holy Spirit moves her to stand up against these people and get justice for Xana. If anyone can do it, I'm telling you, it is Kara. She's been through the fire, she's been through the mire, and she knows she's at a place of very strong faith. See, when you go up against the enemy, you got to be in the right mind. You got to be in the right spirit. You got to be in the right stance. You got to have those around you surrounded to get answers. There's a reason this happened. And I believe Kara is the one that's going to open and break this case open for them to reinvestigate to make sure the people who did this are accountable, and to make sure those who allowed this to be accountable for what they've done. Because it's time. It's time to reopen this case. It's time to reinvestigate this case. And it's time that we see justice for the Idaho 4 and Brian Kohberger. So, I only have one ask of all of you. Watching, replay, live stream. Share this live. Watch this live. Let this live get out there to reach the right people so that they can do something. The people with the authority and the power can do something, and do something good. Just like Texas has done for Mr. Robertson. They have stayed his death execution, and they have put the case back in the trial courts. And I agree, Michelle, this could be any one of us. I agree. Drop some love, give some hearts. Thank you so much for becoming a member or being a member for 2 months, Team Rivet. Thank you so much. I don't know anyone whom my own mother would know. Like, seriously, she knows. That was at the beginning of the stream. And if your mother is still with you today, call her and tell her how much you love her. Be well. Phoenix out.
Listen up, the ashes stir, Phoenix wings unfurl, seeking truth beneath the blur. Turnings for the lax to meet the blur. Out the flames I rise, wings scorched but unbroken. Truth the blaze I wield, every rhyme's a token. In the nest we move, hearts stump in unison. Searching for the light where the system cuts our wisdom. Built on lies and steel, they boxed us in cages. Now we break the locks, rewrite history's pages. Innocent until proven guilty, that's the oath we recite. Under this constitution we ignite the night. We rise like a phoenix and sink, we claim the street. Nest seekers united, our freedom can't be beat. Stand up when one falls, yeah we got your back. In a free land unbroken, we launch the righteous attack. Justice for the voiceless, break the chains of deceit. Innocent till proven guilty, our victory is complete. System cracked at the seams, built for just a few. We rip apart the scheme, bring the truth into view. Movement swells like thunder, souls fueled by conviction. Phoenix souls aligned, demanding our new vision. Marching on the courthouse, banners paint the sky. Echoes of freedom roar, watch the old guard comply. No more hidden verdicts, no more secrets sold. Every voice is a weapon, every story be told. Innocent till proven guilty, that's our final decree. Under this constitution we stand forever free. Phoenix in the dawn, truth ignites the sky. Together we stand tall, no more asking why.